It has been a very big week for metadata. Of course, the government brought in their metadata retention scheme, but what you might not know is that corporations, brands, are just as interested in your data as well. We've been examining a service called Meltwater, who basically scrape all of the things you post online, all of the brand comments you put on Facebook and Twitter, and then actually feed them back to those companies. But where does corporate data mining become a problem? Where does it become uncomfortable? And when is it actually kind of useful? To answer that question, we have our panel this week. Claire Riley is from the tech website CNET, and Luke Hopewell is from the tech website Gizmodo. It's not unreasonable to assume that companies are taking your stuff, but when does it get uncomfortable?
If you don't want corporations to know what you think of them, don't say it on their goddamn Facebook page. It can't be any simpler.
I mean, you'd think so, but somehow it's like when people post selfies when they're drunk driving, or it's just like sometimes the people on the internet are just too stupid to exist.
Do you think people are aware, you know, that there are services out there that exist to pull things in from the ether and create an actionable image?
I reckon that in this room and a lot of people listening, we've got kind of early tech adopters and people who are interested in this kind of thing. But I still get questions of, hold on, I was on looking at shoes the other day and then I got an ad on Facebook for the same shoes. How did they know? And it's like, well, that's cookies, and that's a really base level thing. I was at a presentation this week and I realised midway through that it was directed to salespeople, and I was just like, oh, I'm in the wrong room.
Midway through?
I'm in a room filled with salespeople. Oh, that's why I feel poor. It makes sense now.
They were talking about the future of advertising and essentially things called context engines, which is now Mark Fennell goes online. It's not just about the sites you're visiting, it's about the sites you're visiting at times of day. And now we can loop those data points in with you walking past a shop based on your GPS at a particular time of day, and then going into the store. Where are you lingering in the store? We get that information from Bluetooth beacons. And so we can link all those data points up together. They were even talking about wearables, detecting your blood sugar and knowing not to pitch a sale at you when you're a little bit hangry, which is something I can totally appreciate.
Or pitch me muffins when I'm hangry.
Absolutely.
Muffins all the time.
But this information can be scraped from everywhere. Social media is only the really top level stuff. There's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. If you don't realise you talking about Virgin Australia or Qantas, or whether you want to catch an Emirates flight, that's being fed back to these big companies so that they can micromanage all their analytics, then it's a really big thing.
When does scraping go too far for you, Luke? Like that example of, you know, I was looking at something on the web, a shoe store, and then suddenly I got served with Facebook ads. Is there ever a point where you get uncomfortable with it?
Scraping goes a little bit too far when you see something in there that brands can infer about you where you really shouldn't expect it at all. I'm talking about where you keep your money, and I'm talking about your healthcare. Say, for example, big data is this word that these companies use. They listen because they get big data and they can analyze it and stuff like that too.
And it's really important, but every time someone says big data, I just switch off because it sounds so boring. But it's so important.
We're all talking about hashtag brands right here.
Yeah.
The thing about banking is that, say, for example, some banks are now telling you, oh, put your loyalty cards into our app and we can just, you know, get them to scan the screen rather than having a wallet full of loyalty cards.
Oh,
what happens
boring.
when 1 million people have, you know, 10 different loyalty cards in their mobile wallet, for example? The bank can then infer, hey, these people all have Starbucks cards, or these people all have Everyday Rewards cards, or different sort of brands that they can then partner up with to sell you better. This is where I keep my money because it's less convenient than keeping it under my mattress.
And they're not doing this out of benevolence. They're doing this because of the almighty Allah.
It's quite funny. I met the president of Pixar Animation Studios. He gave me his card, and I used one of those apps where you can kind of digitize people's business cards, and I used the free one, and I digitized his card, and suddenly I realized all of the banner ads and all of my other free apps suddenly became ads for
Frozen.
Basically, yeah. It was Walt Disney, Pixar, and a little part of me goes, well, firstly, that's brilliant because who doesn't love Pixar?
Great.
But it's also like I didn't give it a second thought until I realized it was blanket. Everything, everywhere I went online was Disney ads. It was like they thought I was a 4-year-old or something.
I also, a while ago, told Facebook that I lived in Sweden so that it didn't target me too much. And I get weird ads. My age is a little bit different, so I get a lot of elderly dating ads. Like, my metadata is pretty safe because the picture it has made of me is so confusing to people.
It's like the Google thing. Like when you
I was just about to say that. Like, if you go onto Google advertising, you can have a look at your advertising profile.
I'm a 16 16-year-old girl.
Google still thinks I'm a 24-year-old woman. It's fantastic.
It's amazing.
So all we discovered is that basically we're hoping the government is better at managing
Yeah.
metadata
Internet's
than the
rubbish.
entire
Let's just log off.
corporation.
yeah.
All right, when does corporate data mining get weird for you? Have you had a weird experience with cookies? You went to a website, suddenly you got a whole bunch of ads. Let us know in the comment section down below if you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're watching it on iView, hi, thank you for using our proprietary system. We'll catch you back next week. Bye.